I mean, these storms mean business. Not everyone's guaranteed to see a storm today. That's just the nature of this summer pattern. But man, if one does, it can pack a punch.
It certainly can. And, we all were thinking, maybe we would see more development earlier in the day. It held off a bit later, so it got hotter. So there's a lot more energy out there for these storms right now. So let's get straight to radar. I want to track this. Tania is going to grab the controls here, and we're going to start out with this one storm that is over southern Talladega County. There are flood advisories here because if you've been watching us over the past few days, this is day number 3 where we've been tracking storms through this area. That flood advisory going through 8:30 p.m. and we can actually look at the dual pole radar rainfall estimates here just to show how much rain has fallen with this one storm that has moved through. And as Tania is actually putting the rainfall rates on here, and you can see over 4 inches. So what this tells us, if this storm stays put, it would actually be producing over 2 inches of rain per hour. So with those kind of rainfall rates, that could certainly lead to some flash flooding in a hurry across the area. But that's a look at the rain rate. If we take a look at just how much rain has fallen in this area, we'll go to the dual pole radar estimates and just to show you what that looks like. And let me see if I can pull that up right here. You can see over the past 12 hours, looking at areas right there around the quarry, we have picked up right around, let me see if I can bring that up just to show you here, 2 inches you can see. So yeah, I mean some heavy rain that's happening in that area. So the radar estimating 2 inches of rain that has fallen with that storm over southern Talladega County, northern Coosa County around Weogufka, Gold Branch, and Shelby. Also some heavy rain happening. The lightning count has backed off there, showing around, you see right there, 105. So that number has decreased. Birmingham area, no storms. We had a flood advisory earlier. Looks like maybe a couple of showers trying to fire up right there around the Bessemer Superhighway. You can see in the Bessemer area around Lipscomb, and then further south, storms weakening over northern Bibb County. And then there is one storm that we are tracking that has popped up over Tuscaloosa County. So storms are still out there, and I still think we're going to be dealing with some of this coverage as we go through the evening. So what we're going to be talking about next few days is more of this wet weather. Storms likely. You look at the forecast, you're going to see a 70% chance for rain as we go into the next few days. 70% chance for rainfall, but the big question is, if you are running an errand tomorrow, what's your best time of day to dodge the raindrops? Again, probably before lunchtime. I think 11 to midday into the afternoon. Again, that peak heating of the day, and the same for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But certainly plan for wet storm delays and rain delays because that's going to be a factor through the weekend and into early next week. But I'll be back to talk more about the 7-day forecast, and we'll take you beyond the 7-day right here on Weather Extra.
Thanks, Wes. And if you have plans for this evening to head out to Rock the South, at the start of the event, a little bit drier, but now we're also actually still holding on to those rain and storm chances through the evening and through the night tonight. The good news is Coleman County hasn't been packing much of a punch from any rain and storms today, but there still is a chance throughout this evening. So if you have plans to head out to Rock the South, whether that's today or over the next couple of days, Friday or Saturday, showers and storms still in that area. And we can easily see up to about 3 inches of rainfall over the next 6 to 7 days. So if you have any outdoor plans, your best interest is to pack the umbrella, the rain jacket, maybe even wear the rain boots. And if you're out on those roadways, be sure to take your time, as there are likely some trouble spots, especially where Wes was just pointing out, areas south of Interstate 20, in parts of Sylacauga, and areas south of that area could see some trouble spots on those roadways. So take your time, pack the rain gear over the next couple of days. We'll continue to give you updates on rain chances as we head into your weekend right here on Weather Extra. Lauren?
Well, Tania, a heat wave for the ages impacting one of the ancient world's most well-known structures. It was so hot in Greece on Thursday, officials had to shut down the Acropolis for part of the day. At least one region in the country saw temperatures of at least 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Many other areas are seeing temperatures nearly just as hot, with the scorching temperatures being felt in northern Greece as well. And in Canada, heavy rains turned highways in and around Toronto into rivers. Toronto Fire Services saying they rescued more than a dozen people from flooded highways on Tuesday. And there was also flooding at Union Station, which is the key spot for transportation. Part of the underground network in the city, which includes transit and shopping, had to be closed due to high water. More than 100,000 power customers were in the dark. And back here in the U.S., over 3 million acres have been burned by wildfires as of today. With extreme heat to continue in some parts of the country, there is a high potential for more large wildfires. The National Interagency Fire Center has increased its preparedness to its highest level, PL5. This green lights a larger scale operation for wildfire control, like hotshot crews, air tankers, smoke jumpers, and communications equipment. Well, in 30 seconds, we take a check on the radar across the area. Certainly been some potent storms out there. And then we also have a little weather in the classroom right here in the studio. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Areas to the north are a lot drier, but notice showers and storms like Wes was just mentioning still occurring for some of our southern counties. So if you're down towards Coosa County, southern parts of Talladega County, that flood advisory in effect for areas just around Sylacauga, including Sylacauga, Highway 21. And there is still frequent lightning strikes in this area, about 110 lightning strikes, a very strong storm. But the big thing about this is that it's lots of heavy rainfall stretching from Chico, Sycamore, all the way down to Weogufka in Coosa County, including Gold Branch as well. So if you're in any of those areas, please take your time, move very slow. Looks like some heavy rainfall on its way heading through or really closer to Tuscaloosa County. This is moving out of Pickens County over towards the city of Kirk and Highway 82, giving you that first alert. As far as this area, not as many lightning strikes, about 5, so you may still hear some rumbles of thunder. If you're outdoors at all, you know the drill. When thunder roars, head indoors. With all this wet weather, I can tell you one thing, it is definitely not the best hair weather, I should say. Very, very humid. As far as winds, that's not the case, but I'm giving you a very frizzy hairdo today. I mean, I tried to straighten mine and it's not really working, guys. So if you're out and about, you might just want to have the ball cap, maybe even the bonnet to protect your hair. We're continuing to track showers and storms over the next couple of days, but first, I want to check in with Lauren Linehan talking more about warm fronts and what exactly that means.
Yeah, and you know, I think Jonathan could use a warm front coming through maybe, or a little something that's a little more mild, right? Yes. Sometimes when a warm front comes through, it can be a little bit more chill. But yeah, let's talk about fronts, because one of the reasons that we could be seeing so much rain in the next several days is because of a particular type of front. So you hear us a lot here on Weather Extra talking about a stalled front or a stationary front, a stalled boundary. But before we can understand that, we just need to understand what the difference is between a cold front and a warm front. So we got a little Weather 101 tonight, that weather lowdown. What exactly is a cold front? Well, when we have a cold front come through, when you see this little blue feature on a weather map with those triangles that look like they're out to get somebody, when you see a cold front like this means that basically colder or a cooler air mass is pushing into a warmer air mass. And then we have to think about physics. Cold air is more dense than warm air. So when you get cold air, which is more dense, moving into warm air, which is less dense, warm air rises. And as warm air rises, it expands. As the air expands, as it moves up in the atmosphere, it cools, and eventually it can cool to a point where the air becomes saturated. What happens when the air becomes saturated? Condensation. And that's where we get clouds and storms forming. Now, sometimes as this cold air moves into the warm air, it can be really vigorous. And that's why sometimes in our severe weather seasons, like the fall, winter one, and of course the spring one, which we know all too well, that vigorous uplift can create more potent, strong to severe storms. But then sometimes we have a warm front. Now, warm fronts, sometimes they can be friendly and sometimes they can be really potent. When you have a warm front, that is when warmer air moves into cooler air. So you've got warm air that's just gently moving into cooler air, and it rides up over it. And so sometimes you can get just a rain event along or ahead of that warm front, or sometimes you can have a warm front that's really potent and it can produce severe weather. But what we have happening is a stationary front. When you have a stationary front, the warm air, the cool air, they're not really doing anything. They're just kind of sitting stationary. So you have these two air masses, a cooler one and a warmer one, that are just kind of moving right along, or not really moving much at all. And because they're just sitting there, you have this boundary that forms that separates them. That boundary is where we can see showers and storms develop. And that's what's going to be happening over the next several days, a focal point for storm development. So those are just three types of fronts. There's actually another one, and we'll be sure to talk more about that tomorrow on Weather Extra. But hey, all my weather geeks out there, I know y'all are about as excited as we are on the First Alert weather team. Nearly 30 years after Twister stormed into theaters, a new generation of storm chasers, tornado chasers really, is hitting the big screen. David Daniel has a look from Hollywood.
Twisters was a natural for director Lee Isaac Chung, who grew up in rural Arkansas.
When you have brushes with extreme weather as a child, anything that feels larger than life and dangerous, I think those things leave a very big imprint.
We got PhDs from NASA, FEMA, and Kate, she's the smartest person I know.
Hey dudes, this is interesting. Who are they?
It's Tyler Owens, calls himself a tornado wrangler. If you feel it!
The stars say they were overwhelmed by their real-life counterparts.
They're like mad intelligent about the weather and science, but also like adrenaline seekers, and they all have like crazy dents in their cars from grapefruit-sized hail, and you know.
Are those fireworks?
Yes, ma'am.
It just felt like we were able to take the inspiration from the first movie and then really just, hopefully, you know, take it up a notch.
Oh, she's perfect!
She's gorgeous.
That sense of awe and wonder was something that I really wanted to preserve in this film.
These CGI sequences are massive, but also they did a great job with the actors of like actually hitting us with wind and rain and ice rockets and stuff to make it feel like we are in the eye of a storm.
We went through the elements to make sure audiences felt that ride, and I think that was never a scary day. That was always a thrilling day.
You don't face your fears, you ride them.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Hey, and be sure to tune in to Weather Extra tomorrow night. May not be flying to Hollywood, but I'm flying to Hoover, about the same thing. And we're going to be at the premiere of Twisters tomorrow night, and Hoover will have coverage there. Come in your best tornado gear. We'll be right back.
And welcome back into Weather Extra. Well, we finally seeing a little storm activity. I know we've been telling you about it popping up across the area, and Sylacauga points south here. We have had some very heavy rainfall this week. I mean, some of us, it seems like these storms keep popping up in the same areas. Sylacauga south, the lightning has backed off. At one point, we had over 120 lightning strikes over a 30-minute time frame, but there's still some cloud-to-ground lightning. Meteorologist Tania Michelle zooming in over Coosa County, around Bentleyville, Rockford, the Hanover area. So still really coming down here, the rainfall, and we are still seeing that threat for lightning. So stay sheltered until this storm weekends. As we back the view out, storms have dissipated around Birmingham. There's a little pop-up over in Pickens County. Actually, one of my followers on Facebook, he's asked 2 days in a row, Wes, we need some rain in Carrollton. We need some rain in Carrollton. And you can see right now the storms are close, but we're seeing showers around Elrod, down into the Romulus, and this may develop to the east. But we did have a storm earlier in Tuscaloosa County, so it's cooled things off, so it's not as unstable. So this may continue to weaken. To the north, watching the radar north of Anniston, actually right not far from White Plains, you can see where a storm popped up. And Tania, actually go to the future scan. We have a new tool here. We can go, we go to the next 60 minutes. We can go the next 2 hours here with some of this forecast radar data, and you can see how this will move along. These storms will build in towards Tallapoosa County as well, but to the north, I know we have Rock the South going on happening in the Coleman area, but you can see over the next couple of hours, still looking at a window here. I'm watching, there is a kind of a broken line to the north where we're seeing some of these pop-up showers that's going to drop south into this evening. Let's keep an eye on this. There might be some additional development, but as we go through tonight, the chance of rain will stay in the forecast. Let's bring the temperatures in, and you can see, look at the readings around Tuscaloosa and Centerville in the 70s. Now Birmingham, 88. We did have that storm just south of town around actually the southern part of Birmingham down into Cahaba Heights and down into Shelby County, where it is hotter. These areas more favorable for still seeing a storm or a pop-up shower this evening. So where it's very hot, stay alert for that possibility of rain. But here's a live look. This is south of Oak Grove there in Talladega County, 72 degrees. But you can see that is a mean looking sky there off to the south where those storms have been developing. But the lightning was intense there earlier. All these storms will continue into this evening. Notice after midnight, we can't say completely zero on the rain chance overnight. May still have an overnight rumble, but we stay in this pattern. Lauren did a great job explaining the setup. We've got a stalled front, but we also have an upper level trough over the region that's going to be building in as we go into the weekend colder air loft. And when we get that set up, you get the heating of the day. It's not a question of if we're going to have storms. We're going to see some storms popping up, but when and where. And as you can see through Friday afternoon, the model data shows a good coverage. So if you're planning on working outdoors, trying to wrap up on the job site tomorrow, you can see that 70% chance of rain. Best bet for dodging the rain drops early in the day. Watch it going into the afternoon and evening. And the same goes for Saturday and Sunday. Rain chance there around 70%. And we're going to continue with this pattern into next week. And as we go to meteorologist Tania Michelle, Tania, looking ahead into next week, we're keeping those rain chances 60 to 70%. No one day is a total washout, but every day we're going to be tracking some wet weather.
Absolutely. Every day there is a chance for rain. As you've seen majority of this week, that's pretty much the setup over the next several days. On and off showers and storms. Not all of us are going to get a drop of wet weather, but most of us and some of us most definitely will. As we look beyond the 7 days, 6 to 10 days out, July 24th through July 28th, a good mix across the nation. Some states dealing with below average temperatures, or precipitation as far as rainfall near average across the Pacific Northwest, but above average for all of our southern states. And you know who that includes. That includes us right here at home across central Alabama. So more rain and storms in the forecast? Absolutely. What about temperatures? Well, rain helping us to stay below average as far as our temps. Average at this time of the year is around 91 degrees, and we're topping out with our highs in the 80s, guys. Today, yes, we did reach the lower 90s, but areas that got a little bit more wet weather, more rain, stayed a lot cooler. I looked earlier, and Tuscaloosa had a temperature of 73 at around 4 p.m., so the rain helps to alleviate those temperatures and the heat. But But I got a chance to visit Camp Haven and teach them all about the wonders of weather. It was so much fun. This is a nail camp. The girls come together and they learn how to do nails from acrylic. They learn about monomer and all the different designs they can do with nails. And Haven is absolutely amazing. She owns a nail salon in downtown Birmingham. So if you want to get your nails done, a great place to go. But it was so fun teaching girls about weather and how to weather the storms in their life as well. Such a great opportunity. And hey, listen, when I was there, all of them were dressed up as their favorite hip hop and R&B artists. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was like career day for them. So got to show off a little bit about what I do as a meteorologist, educate them and help them fight the storm. But in this week's Moment of Science, it's a new record for the building blocks of life. Dan Smith joins us now with the story behind discovering the world's largest gnome.
DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, if you want to impress your friends at Bar Trivia, contains the instruction codes for life to thrive and survive. That signature double helix is all part of your genes, which is unraveled from your chromosomes, found in every one of your living cells, and when you sum it all up, it's even more impressive.
A genome is all the DNA of an organism that's found within a cell.
Dr. Ilya Leach at the Royal Botanic Gardens near London says all organisms have genomes, but they vary in size, a range of 2,500 times in plants alone.
We've always been intrigued by plants which have really big genomes. Most species of plants have small genomes. There's one little carnivorous plant that has a tiny genome which is 50 times less DNA than in each of its cells than we have. So that's one end of the scale.
And on the other end,
we thought we'd reached the record holder in 2010 when we found a flowering plant called Paris japonica, which had about 50 times as much DNA in each of its cells. Compared with our own genome.
Dr. Leach and her team recently discovered the world's largest genome, breaking their own record with a fern found only in a few Pacific islands.
If we would take out all the DNA from one cell in our body, unravel it and join it end to end, that would stretch 2 meters of DNA. This fern that we have found has 106 meters of DNA in every cell, which is just crazy to me. I mean, it's just so much DNA.
If you're copying files between folders on your computer, you know that the larger ones take longer, and copying that DNA is no exception.
You've got to
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. How about this beautiful photo? I think it was actually sent in from Wes's sister-in-law from Perdido Pass. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and look at that, another shelfie.
Nice shelf clad. You see a lot of those that look very ominous this time of the year. Tracy sharing those from Morris.
I love that one. That one's so cool. It looks like she was near a campground. Christopher Owen showing this one. Another picture of a rainbow in Fort Morgan. Beautiful view there. Absolutely love that.
You know, you think it doesn't get any better than a rainbow, and then you got a rainbow at the beach.
And then you have a sunrise like this.
Yeah, from Yvonne Craig. That is beautiful.
And that's in Birmingham. That's right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Hey, everybody sharing photos. We certainly appreciate that on the First Alert weather app. Just one click. We're watching for storms, seeing a lot of rain to the southeast. We'll continue to track that for you tonight at 9.